What's up, everybody? I'm Eric Hansen with BackpackingTV. Welcome to a new episode of our winter tip series. Today we're going to be talking about 4-season tents. Winter tents, do you need to buy them? And what is the difference between a winter tent and a 3-season backpacking tent that you probably already have in your arsenal? Before we get into the video, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, turn on those notifications, and really become a part of our Backpacking TV community here. We love to be hearing from you. We love this growing channel and all the things that it's doing here. Okay, thanks so much for subscribing. Now let's get into the video. What makes a winter tent really different from your 3-season tent that you probably already have? And do you need to buy one? That is the big question. This tent here is about $1,000. It is very expensive. And so you obviously want to be equipped with the right knowledge to make your purchasing decisions, and if you need one or if you can get away with what you already own. I am all about frugality and making use of what you already have, so I hope this video will really come in handy to help you make your purchasing decision. Let's look at this tent and really see what is actually different about it. Okay, so this is my 2-person winter backpacking tent, and this is a beast. This thing, I do love it. It's an amazing tent. However, there are some things to be aware of. This tent actually weighs about 10 pounds. Now, this is significantly heavier than your average 3-season tent. An average 3-season tent is going to weigh anywhere from 4 or 5 pounds. That's not in the ultralight category. So anywhere maybe 4 to 6 pounds is probably average. So 10 is really heavy. This thing is also much bigger. There is a lot more material. There's a lot more poles. You need more stakes. All of those things are going to factor into your backpacking weight and size. And so you have to be aware that if you're going to do some winter backpacking with a tent like this, you're going to be carrying a much bigger load than you would normally, or that you might do in a 3-season scenario. However, it comes with some pretty robust features that are pretty awesome and make this totally worth it if you can afford it. As you can see here, we've got a winter storm coming down on us. The snow is piling up. This is actually pretty wet snow here. So that's actually really heavy. Even though it's only about 2 or 3 inches, it's really heavy snow. And you can see it's already causing this tent to sag a little bit. This would be almost crushing my 3-season tent, certainly my ultralight one, but even my more robust 3-season tent, this amount of snow would require a lot of maintenance to make sure that it doesn't collapse throughout the night or just as more and more snow piles up. So there are 6 poles in this tent, as opposed to more like 2 that's probably in your 3-season tent. So I've got this crisscrossing pattern all throughout the tent here it creates a very rigid, very strong tent that can handle heavy snow loads and also heavy wind. So that's obviously winter conditions are generally harder, more harsher, and so heavy winds or heavy snows are going to crush a tent. So this will make sure that you can actually be cozy and warm inside your tent no matter how rough the conditions get outside. A couple other things to note about this. As the weight is gaining on this, I think that it's really important to do some maintenance and just shake it off, clear off the snow off of this, free that up so that your tent doesn't collapse in the night. And then a tent also like this is going to have more guy points where you can string out an additional set of supports. If you are in the high alpine environment or a mountaineering environment where winds might be really strong, this is going to be really necessary to use these guy points to create an even more rigid structure that is way stronger than anything that your 3-season tent can handle. There's a few more things about this tent, the features that are on the inside that I want to show you that help differentiate this from your 3-season tent. So let's take a look inside the tent. One of the big differentiators from winter 4-season tents to, say, 3-season tent is some of the moisture management capabilities. So when you're inside, unfortunately I brought in some moisture with my wet jacket and things like that. So we want to try to keep this space as dry as possible. So having some of these vent points here at the top, we're creating breath and we're creating extra moisture points. So being able to vent our tent this way is actually really helpful. And I can even fully open this up if I were to need to, say, shake some snow off or get at something. It's really handy. Or I can then access this vent, and without ever getting outside my tent, I can open this vent up here. So being able to get that little bit of extra airflow in here, if things get stuffy or really moist in here, opening that up goes a really long way. And of course, being able to stay inside to do it is awesome. All right, let's close that baby up. Another thing that I love about a good winter tent is having the ability to have 2 vestibules. So this one has a much bigger, empty, or a more roomy space in which I can kind of operate out of. I could cook here. In general, you don't want to cook inside your tent. It can be really dangerous. You can get carbon monoxide poisoning. You can light your tent on fire. So cooking out in a space like this where it's well vented, while yet you still have some protection from the snow, is awesome. So having that, which most 3-season tents don't have. And I can also get out the other way too, if need be. So those are some critical points about this tent that another tent might not have. Another thing that you can tell is this tent just there's more fabric. So this is quite a bit of a heavier tent than a 3-season tent, but it's really useful because it's creating more insulation. I have a layer of fabric here and then a really robust rain fly or snow fly that can handle heavier loads right above me. So you'll notice this feels really strong and is really good at insulating, keeping that heat and warmth in your tent in a way that a 3-season tent is not designed to do. Another difference that these winter tents will have is this flap here is a really nice design for helping to keep this environment really enclosed, really safe, really cozy feeling. So if I want, I can bury this with snow, and this will do 2 things. One, it'll help create a little bit more of a rigid space here, so that as snow piles up on top here, there's a little bit more weight to how this is supported, not just relying upon the anchor points. And as well, it's often windy, and we obviously don't want that wind to really be driving into our tent environment. So it creates almost like a seal all the way around. These flaps go all the way around the whole outside of the tent. So I can create a nice seal. If it's really windy, it won't be driving through the inside of my tent, and I'm gonna be a lot more cozy inside. So this is an example of a good 2-person backpacking tent that's kind of in that mid-weight range. As you can see, it's not the smallest tent I have, but this would be something that could potentially handle winter scenarios as well. But this is a 3-season tent and not a 4-season tent. So that's the difference between a 4-season tent and a 3-season tent. I hope that gives you some information to decide for yourself if it's worth it for you. It is a big investment, but if you're planning on spending quite a bit of time actually winter camping, it is a game changer, and I love having it. So, well, I guess that's kind of my recommendation. If you can afford it, it's awesome to have in your quiver so that you can really enjoy some winter backcountry camping. Okay, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, gleaned something. If you have any other tips or tricks or things that you think that need to be explained maybe better or differently, questions you have, comments, leave it in the comment section below. Love to hear from you, and I'll be responding to those as fast as I can. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Eric Hansen. I'll see you out there.